Hey, y'all, I'm Charlie Daniels, and you're listening to Radio Random Network.
All right, joining me today on the Radio Random Network is a very special guest. He's a true American and a music icon. I'm talking about none other than my friend, Mr. Charlie Daniels. Mr. Charlie, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm good, friend. Thanks for talking to me today.
Yeah, thanks for calling in. Man, 2015 is almost a landmark year for you, man. You got the Volunteer Jam, 40th anniversary this year, and you also got a few other things going on. But let's talk a little bit about this Volunteer Jam first, Charlie. Where did you come up with this concept?
You know, this whole thing started back in 1974. We were doing an album called Fire on the Mountain, and we wanted to do 2 live cuts. So we got us rented a hall in Nashville, more auditorium, about 2,200 seats. Went in, and I kind of casually invited some of my friends to come up after we got through with our recording and jam with us in that first year. Dickie Best, my Alma Brothers band, and 3 of the Marshall Tucker band guys came up. Well, both of those bands were hot as a firecracker in Nashville, and we didn't tell anybody they were there. We just brought them on, and it was the most talked about show of the year. It sold out, and it was just a mystique about it. We broadcast it live over the radio, and it was just a mystique about it. It just grabbed a hold, and there was such interest in it. We knew we had a happening on our hands, so we moved the next edition into a 13,000-seat hall the next year and sold it out and kept on keeping on. And it just got to be a kind of a Tennessee tradition. And the reason we stopped doing it, it got to be, when we first started doing it, it was a very unique thing. And there were very few things that went on like that. And it was not so hard to get a meaningful roster of talent. But as time went on, right, and Band Aid, Live Aid, all this stuff started happening, people had so many things they had to go to or needed to go to that it was kind of hard to get a meaningful roster of talent. So we quit it for a while. Now, this 40th anniversary, this has the potential probably of being the biggest one we've ever done, in that it is, we have so many artists on this. When I sent the invitations out, I was actually amazed at how soon they came back and how many came back in a positive way. People wanted to come, and we continually are announcing new artists. In fact, this week we're announcing Winona Judd and Terry Clark.
Wow.
And I mean, it's just on and on and on. Of course, we got Trace Atkins and the Oak Ridge Boys and Lee Greenwood and Alabama, and I'm missing a bunch of folks also.
Yeah, you got Ted Nugent and Montgomery Gentry, your friends as well. It's going to be a big happening.
I mean, it's going to be quite a show. So anyway, that's a little thumbnail sketch of how it came about.
Yeah, well, this year is also a special year because you have proceeds from the event will be donated to the Journey Home Project.
Yeah, that's a new organization that we just got started a few months ago. It's our mission is to help our men and women coming back from our armed forces in any way we can to kind of soften the landing and the transition back into civilian life. Sometimes it's kind of tough, and we've done things like, education, help people get a college education, and even down to we found out that one of our veterans didn't have any furniture, so we got some furniture for him. But whatever they need is whatever we try to do to help them out. We can never do enough for our veterans. We owe them a little bit of gratitude.
You're right about that, and you stay involved with helping veterans and doing your part as well. So thank you for that. Thank you for helping the men and women who keep us safe.
Well, it's an honor, believe me. It really is.
Now, you also just come out with a new album.
We
Doing It, Dylan?
It's an album I've been wanting to do for a long time. It's a tribute to Bob Dylan. It's 10 of his songs, and it's called Charlie Daniels Band Off the Grid because it is an acoustical album. And we Doing It, Dylan, of course, because it's a album about Dylan songs. So it's something I've wanted to do for quite a while. I've worked with Dylan some back in the late 60s, early 70s as a studio musician, and I've got such great admiration for him. I think he's he was before the Beatles or any of the people we consider to be the big improvisers of the era, and I just think that he's to me it had a big influence on my career. So I would definitely want to do tribute to him, and we kind of got around to it.
Yes, indeed. Now, have you had a chance to get in touch with Bob Dylan about the album? Have you talked to him since the album's come out?
I've talked to him on the phone, and I've seen him, but the subject never came up, and I never brought it up. I didn't. I know. I hope he's heard. I know he got the album. I hope he's heard it, but he just has not seen fit to bring it up, and so I didn't either. So, but one of these days, he'll tell me what he thinks of it.
Yes, indeed. Well, you were talking earlier about the 40th anniversary of the Volunteer Jam, and you were talking about doing the album Fire on a Mountain, which is the 40th anniversary of it, too, this year. Can you give us a little insight on going back 40 years ago and give us a little, I guess, insight on the Fire on a Mountain? What inspired that album?
Fire on a Mountain was when, oddly enough, that particular album, I had never been happy with my vocal performances on any album we had ever done. And I had spent so many years doing copy music, playing clubs that when I first started recording, I kept finding myself falling back into somebody else's vocal style besides mine. And on this particular album, I decided I'm going to go in the studio. I'm going to open my mouth, and whatever comes out is what I am. And I did on that album. It was the first album that have really been happy with the vocals on. I mean, my vocal performance. And so we decided to do a couple of live cuts on it, and of course that's where Volunteer Jam came along.
Right.
But it was a special album in a lot of ways for us because it was our first gold and subsequently multi-platinum album. It was a very big milestone for Charlie Daniels' band, Fire on a Mountain.
That's awesome. And I'm going to ask you a couple more questions here, and I know you got a busy day ahead of you, but real quick. And I'm sure you got to answer this, or you get asked this all the time. And to me personally, I want to know what was the influence behind "The Devil Went Down to Georgia"?
Believe it or not, necessity being the mother of invention. We had written and rehearsed an album's worth of records. I mean, of songs for an album. And we had gone in the studio to record and came to the glaring realization that we did not have a fiddle song. Why we did not decide that before we went in, I cannot tell you. But we didn't. And we said, we need a fiddle song. So we literally took a break, moved the equipment out of the recording studio into a rehearsal studio, and went in, and I had this idea in my mind. I don't know where it came from, but I went down to Georgia. Hey, guys, let's do this. Let's try this. And everybody started adding little parts in, and Taz came up with that da 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 da. And I mean, we were off and running. I went off and finished lyrics to it, and we went in and recorded. It was just one of those uninteresting stories. You think if I ever did a song that had some kind of a really heavy duty sort of a story to it, would be that one, but it's not really.
Right. It was just on a wham. That's pretty. That's very, very interesting. And Charlie, being a musician myself, and I know there's a lot of singer-songwriters out there that look up to you as an influence. Can you give a little advice or share a little advice that for anybody that maybe want to follow in your footsteps as a singer-songwriter or musician?
Well, if you want to be a professional musician, go be a professional musician. Don't. But first of all, consider this. If you just want to play music, there's nothing wrong with playing in the Holiday Inn Lounge on Friday and Saturday night. I mean, right. Nothing wrong with it all. You don't have to be a full-time musician, but if you're going to do it, go somewhere where there's a music business and do it. And I mean, just, get out there and try. While you're young enough, get out there and try it, and don't go to it. Don't go in with the idea, well, I'm going to try this for a while, and if it don't work out, I'm going to do something else. You just make yourself a little challenge. I'm going to do this regardless of if I have to work twice as hard as anybody else ever did. But the main thing, if you're going to be a professional musician, learn how to entertain people. And then that way, when the hit records start coming, you don't look good in tight jeans anymore. You still have something to lean on. I mean, people come to see us to be entertained rather than the way you look or the latest record you had or something. So, first of all, make up your mind. That's what you want to do. Then go for it. And then learn how to entertain people. Learn how to keep people in their seats. Learn how to, you learn that in the clubs because you don't want people leaving.
Right.
So you try to entertain them. So, learn how to entertain. Learn what works and what don't. What you do best. What people like about what you do best. And go for it. You'll never know till you try it.
Sound advice from one of the best. Mr. Charlie Daniels, thank you so much for joining me here today on the Radio Random Network. It was an honor to talk with you. And for more information on Charlie, you can go to charliedaniels.com. You can find out more about the band. He's on Twitter at Charlie Daniels. He's on Facebook. He's also on YouTube now. Be sure and subscribe for all the latest videos. Thank you so much, friend, and we hope to see you in Nashville in August, buddy.
Thank you, brother. God bless you.
God bless you, too, Charlie. Thank you very much, man.
Bye-bye.
Hi, this is Lee Greenwood from Nashville, Tennessee, and you're listening right now to the Radio Random Network.
Currently celebrating the release of his new, fully illustrated children's book, Proud to be an American, and he's also a country music icon. I'm talking with none other than Mr. Lee Greenwood. Lee, how are you doing today, buddy?
I'm terrific. Thank you. Out on the trail.
Oh, yes. A busy day today, huh?
It's been a really busy day. Of course, we just were finishing in New York for the BEA, the Book Expo, and now we're down in Orlando for the Christian Book Association show, ICRS, and it's really got us running again. It's interesting the difference between being an author and being a musician, singer, and I asked that question to many of the people who came by my booth today to pick up a new copy of our book, Proud to be an American, and they were curious of what the answer would be, and I said, singers get up at 11 o'clock. It's interesting that people who have books are up at 5 a.m., and so it's been a long day already, but I'm really happy to talk to you.
Yes, indeed. Now, this ain't the first book that you've put out. I mean, this is a children's book, but you're also an author of the Does God Still Bless the USA, which you released in 2012.
Yeah, I had a biography of sorts released by Pelican Publishing about 20 years ago, and so I felt it was time to maybe make a little bit of a statement. And as a play on the title of my song, God Bless the USA, we asked the question, does God still bless the USA? Because there's so much talk about removing God from the United States. And I thought it was important to make my stand and make my statement about that as a conservative Christian. And so I've done so. But now as we move on, people came to us and said, from our opinion, children growing up in this generation are not going to feel as American as the last generation. And it's not necessarily about war. It's about politics. It's about honesty and morality. It's about sovereignty and who we are as a nation. So we have produced this new book. It's the lyrics of my song with great illustrations for children, I'd say for the ages of 1 to 5 or 6, to teach them not only what numbers and colors and names and geography is, but also what it means to be a patriot of the greatest country on earth, the United States of America.
Yes, indeed, and that's great that you I'm so honored to talk to somebody that not just an icon, but also your patriotism. It's an honor to talk to you and to know that you stand for something, and you stand behind everything you say.
It's not hard for me to talk about the U.S. and how unique it is. I've traveled this country now for 35 years, and when I say from the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee and Texas, when my career started in Nashville as a country artist, we toured for 4 years, 300 days a year in every doghouse, outhouse, roundhouse in the South and the North to try to find our country fans. The people of the United States may be a little bit different from coast to coast, but we're one culture. And we knew it when we were attacked in 2001 on our own soil in New York and D.C., and we felt unified for a very short period of time. I love that feeling. And I love the feeling when people say, I'm an American, particularly when they're a new citizen. And they come here legally, and it takes them 7 years to get their citizenship. And they go, my gosh, that song, God Bless the USA, it stands for me. It stands for who I am, and I'm proud to be in America. And so, to release the new book, I feel it's important to teach our kids in the next generation who they are. They're Americans.
Yes, indeed. I'm sitting here talking to none other than Lee Greenwood. Now, Mr. Lee, the patriotic, iconic hit, God Bless the USA, you know, it's been one of the most recognized, or it is probably the most recognizable patriotic song in America. But can you give us just a little insight on how it come about you recording the song?
Well, you know, I when I was at MCA with Reba McEntire and George Strait, the Oak Ridge Boys, and Barbara Mandrell, we all had to turn out 2 albums a year. It's what they wanted, and I was there 14 years. So that's an awful lot of music to go through. So I had to write an awful lot. At the same time, I'm touring, you know, and working really hard. And so to be creative, I just created most of my music on my bus. And we were going down the road every night, and I'd finish a show and try to lay something down. I had a studio in the back with my piano, and I would lay chords down. I traveled with the crew. It was a little less noisy. The band was always a little more rowdy, and I thought it was pretty cool to get away from that. So I'd write music in my bus, and God Bless the USA was one of those songs I wrote. Probably on the first 10 albums, I had 1 or 2 songs on each album, and it was not ever designated as a single. It was not a song that I pushed the record company to release and draw attention to. It was just something I was proud of, and we put it on the album in 1984 called "You Got a Good Love Coming," which was just a filler song. We already had a video for the title cut. It featured Patrick Duffy from the Dallas Cats, and I played saxophone on it, and I was really proud of it to be a summer release in 1985. It was already done, and Universal made the call to release "God Bless the USA" instead, and so we did at their insistence.
And with that said, I mean, just that shows the power. It was a filler song. They released it, and it is charted, I think, 3 times. I know 91, 2001, and also in 2003. What is that like to have a song that or a single that charts 3 times?
Well, the extenuating circumstances, of course, were war, the attack on America, the horrible events that Katrina caused in our South, and just my USO tours. I mean, there was a lot of things that brought it to bear. The National Guard used it as their honor song. The president used it in his speech, and it became President Reagan's song. And then I toured with President Bush, Jr. and Senior. And so I think just more and more it got to be into the fiber of America. And so when it hit the charts the second time, it did surprise me that people didn't like go back and grab "God Bless America" or "America the Beautiful" or "The Battle Hymn of the Republic," or, you know, I have a whole album that we recorded of American songs in 1992, and it did feature "God Bless the USA" as one of those. But that was the song they chose for unification, for the strength of American pride.
Yes, indeed. Now, you've participated in over 30 USO tours, and you're also a national ambassador for helpingahero.org. Can you give us a little insight on that foundation?
Yes, sir, and thank you for asking about that. As a national ambassador, I'm kind of a mouthpiece for this organization, but I will tell you I'm extremely proud to represent it. We give homes to wounded warriors, and over the past 7 years, we've given 100 homes in 22 states to soldiers who have paid the price for our freedom. And when we give a soldier the keys to their brand new home, maybe a double or even a triple amputee, there's one soldier that's blind, another one that's confined to a bed, and then it didn't have a bath until we built them a home that you could roll the gurney into the shower. I mean, there's moments that you just like almost want to cry from happiness that you give this gentleman or this lady a chance to be an American citizen with the same life we live, even with their handicap, even when they're the injuries that they've suffered. So we do fundraisers, of course, in Houston, Texas, where we're based, but we also build homes in all of these states. So if you ever hear about helping a hero, go to the website, helpingahero.org, and find out where we are building the next home, and can you be helpful in some way.
That's awesome. That is awesome, man. God bless you for that. Now, we're going to move on a little bit. We're going to talk about some of your music. Your latest CD is I Want to Be in Your World. It's available now on iTunes, Amazon, and at leegreenwood.com. And can you give us a little insight on what this album has in store for your fans?
Yeah, we try to always record a new album every couple of years, even though I'm not on a label now, because people like to know if you're still recording and still singing. I think that's a mark of your insistence, your willpower. Right, I'm not going to give this up. And so our new 7-song EP features 3 songs I wrote, including the title cut, I Want to Be in Your World. There are 4 great country songs that I recorded in Nashville as well, and one of which was written by Kenny Loggins and Michael McDonald, oddly enough.
Awesome.
Who were, pop icons. And so Michael McDonald lives near us in Franklin, Tennessee. So I asked him if he'd come in the studio and play for me, and he did. And the cut is called You Can Let Go Now, and it's just Michael playing piano and me singing. There's no other instruments or anything. It was really unbelievable to be in the studio with him and sing with him while he played a song he wrote for me.
Yes, indeed. Now you're currently doing your book tour, and you're still on tour, and you perform over 80 dates per year around the world. You're a man of many hats, my friend.
Well, I got to continue to tour. That's the way I keep my voice and up to standard. I'll be in New York for 3 days following today doing press. We'll be on Fox and Friends the morning of July 3rd. That night, we're in Biloxi at Harrah's on the Great Lawn. On July 4th, we're featured at the Villages in Florida, and July 5th at SeaWorld in Florida, doing 2 shows. Then we go back to New York and back to press again, all over the Southeast, starting our book tour in Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and Christian bookstores.
Yes, indeed. Well, we're right here in Baton Rouge. I may see you in the Biloxi there at the Harrah's, July 3rd.
Well, you're in the news right now, my friend, because Miss USA is in Baton Rouge next week. It's on the 12th of July.
That's
and,
right.
I just heard that NBC wants to drop the coverage of the Miss USA pageant because of what Donald Trump said the other day on TV, and I can't wait to see how this shakes out.
Yes, indeed. Now, I'm not one to really get too political, but I mean, this is a special occasion a little bit. And real quick before I let you go, do you mind giving a little insight on all of this mess and everything that's going on with the flags and the Donald Trump situation and everything? Can you mind giving your opinion?
Well, let me just say this about America. We continue to look forward and we look backward at the same time. A flag represents a state's plight. It represents the honor of the people who have died to represent that state and bring it to statehood through blood and money and tireless days. If that's the flag that they prefer to fly, I think that's their prerogative to fly it. It has nothing to do with being racial. It is about history. It is about pride of their family and their family name. Now, in South Carolina, should the flag be flown at the State House? Well, you know what? The American flag stands above everything, and it should, because we're one nation first. That's up to the state to make the call where to fly their state flag. I'm from California originally. If they want to fly the Golden Bears at the state capitol, that's fine. I don't think there's any problem with that. And if Mississippi wants to fly its flag that has a rebel cross in it, I don't think there's any problem with that either. It just has to be, taken in true context, and let the people who are speaking hatred and racial slurs, let them fall by the wayside, because that's not what it's about.
That's it, man. I agree with you 110% on that. And I want to thank you so much for calling in today. It was an honor to talk with you. And I wish you the best of luck on all your endeavors, and I look forward to talking to you in the future as well.
Well, thank you, Russell. It's been terrific.